What's going on, everybody? My name is Peyton Burton. I am the co-host and co-owner of the Everything College Basketball Podcast and Facebook group. And today I am going to be previewing the 2023-2024 Big West Tournament Championship. This tournament starts March 13th, and the championship game will be played on March 16th. This has been a conference that's had very good success. This season, they've had a couple of teams really shine bright. UC Irvine ended up winning this league by over 2 games with a 17-3 conference record. Finished overall regular season with a 24-8 overall record, one of the best mid-major teams in the country. Then you have UC San Diego, who I'll get to real quickly, who finished second at 15-5. UC Davis finished third with 14-6. You have three teams really that can win this league. We'll discuss more about them in a minute. But the only really note I have about this league is the fact that UC San Diego is not allowed to play in this conference tournament because they're going through their 4-year transitional period. That's actually their final year. They were D2, but they became a D1 program 4 years ago. This is the last year in the transition period. Next year, they'll be able to compete in postseason play. They are allowed to play in the CBI tournament, which I think you can do that, but maybe they have the funds to actually be able to afford that. But that's been notes to me. I don't actually know the full situation there. All I know is they finished second in the regular season, and they're not allowed to play in the conference tournament just because of the transitional period, which I actually – even though I think the transitional period, that rule needs to get decreased by 2 years. I think 2 years transitional period, that is fine with me. 4 years is absolutely absurd and it's ridiculous. But if you're not going to allow a team to play in postseason, whether it's NIT or the NCAA tournament, and they have to stick 4 years, I think it's best for everybody else if they're not allowed to participate in the conference tournament, because if that's the case, then you won't see a Bellarmine winning the ASUN tournament like they did a couple years ago and wasn't allowed to participate in any postseason play. And they basically just screwed everybody else in the league that had a chance to win it because they ended up beating everybody and ended up winning it. And they went to the runners-up, which really ain't that fair, in my opinion. So I actually like what the Big West is doing. Completely not disregarding UC San Diego because we're still acknowledging them that the season they've had an incredible season, 21-11 overall, 15-3 or 15-5 in conference play. But if you take them out of the equation, then there's no chance of you screwing all the other teams that are eligible to play in postseason play. So that's something I do like. I don't like the transitional period. It needs to go to 2 years instead of 4. That's just my personal opinion. That's the only note I have for the rest of these conferences. Let's go ahead and get into this conference tournament preview. The Big West, let's go ahead and pull up the bracket right now. First round matchups, March 13th. We have 5-seed UC Riverside taking on 8-seed Cal State Bakersfield. And I am going to tell you right now, UC Riverside has had a good season. They finished overall, even though they're below 500 with the 15-7 record, they finished 10-10 in conference play. They've got some good pieces surrounding them. They have Barrington Hargraves, who's averaging over 12 a game. You have Isaiah Moses, who's also averaging over 12 a game. Barrington Hargraves is leading them in points, assists, and steals. Kyle Owens is leading them in rebounds with 5.5 per game. They're not a great three-point shooting team. They don't defend particularly well. I think offensively they are a top 3 team in this league. But here's the thing. I'm looking at the wrong team. They're actually ranked 7th, according to Ken Palm, conference-only stats. They're ranked 7th offensively. They're ranked 8th defensively. So they're very average offensive team and defensive team. They don't shoot a high percentage from 3 either. Cal State Bakersfield, they have one of the better players in this league. They have Caleb Higgins on this roster, 17 points per game. If his team was just a little bit better, or if he had more help and they can finish like top 4, top 5 in the conference, he would probably be a front runner to win Conference Player of the Year. But the fact is, like, people care a lot about what you do team-wise, what the team does, and they're lower half of the conference. They end up getting the 8 seed in this bracket. So, therefore, since they're such a low seed, he's not really going to get the recognition that I feel like he deserves because he's had a hell of a season, over 17 points per game, shooting over 88% from the free throw line, 41% from the field, 1.1 steals per game. 3 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per, almost 4 assists per game. He's had a really good season, but he just has no help. But here's the thing with UC Santa Barbara. They have a top 3 offense in this league. Defensively, they're not as good. They have probably the second worst defense in this league. Them and Cal Poly, who did not win a single conference game, by the way. And also, that's another thing I actually forgot about. This league, like what league? I forgot what league that was. Like the Southland, they have 11 teams in this conference, and their tournament championship only has 8 teams in there. So they cut the bottom 3. Cal Poly ended up losing every single game in conference play, did not win a single game. That's, even though I mentioned it in previous conference tournament previews I already did, there's another conference, I don't remember which one that actually does this type of format. It doesn't involve every single team in the conference tournament, which is, I don't care if they don't win any game. I think that's kind of lame in my opinion, but it's not the biggest thing. It's not the biggest gripe I have. Just wanted to note that real quick. But yeah, UC Santa Barbara, they don't have a good defense at all. They have a good offense, and they have the best player on the floor. I think Cal State Bakersfield wins this game. UC Riverside's not going to be able to contain him. They're not going to be able to stop him from getting what he wants. He's just going to attack them constantly. He's going to get to the free throw line. He's going to convert the majority of his free throws, and he's going to have a field day on UC Riverside's defense in this game. Cal State Bakersfield starting off this league, upsetting the 5 seed UC Riverside, and they will move on to the quarterfinals to play Long Beach State. Next matchup, we have UC Santa Barbara taking on Cal State Northridge. Cal State Northridge has, again, like I mentioned with Cal State Bakersfield, they have one of the better players in the conference. Deshaun Allen Elkins. If this team was just a little bit better, then he'll also get recognition for being Conference Player of the Year. But the fact is, he's just not. Now, he does have more help. He has Deontay Bostic, 15 points per game, 4 rebounds per game. He's shooting about 35% from 3, which is pretty average, which is good enough to win you ball games. He also has Keontae Jones, who's over a 10-point scorer, and you have Gianni Hunt, who's obviously a 10-point scorer as well. They don't shoot the 3 ball particularly well as a team. UC Santa Barbara, or Cal State Northridge, excuse me. Offensively, they're one of the worst offensive teams in this league, ranking second to last, ranking 10th in this league. They're shooting 30% from 3, which is god-awful. Again, ranked 10th in that same category as well. Defensively wise, they're a little bit better. They're a little bit better than UC Santa Barbara. They're ranked 7th in all adjusted defensive efficiency, according to KenPom. They give up about 33% from 3, 47% from 2. Even though I think they have the best player on the court, I think UC Santa Barbara, again, has a really talented player and Jay Mitchell, who's averaging almost 20 a game. It's really going to be a one-on-one show for me. Jay Mitchell taking on Deshaun Allen Elkins. Those two are going to go head-to-head in this matchup. I think Jay Mitchell wins that one. He has been lights out from 3, shooting over 38%. They also got Corey Anderson on the team, shooting over 42% from 3, and Josh Pierre-Louis shooting over 36. So they've got 3 guys who consistently knock down shots for you. Offensively, they're okay. They're top 3 offense in the country, or not the country, in the Big West this year. Free throw rate, they're first going to the free throw line, so they get to the charity strike more than any other team in the Big West. They shoot 35% from 3, which is average, but again, that's good enough to win you games, especially in a tournament format. Defensively, though, they're one of the worst defensive teams. One of the worst defensive teams in the Big West. They cannot guard at all, which could play in Cal State Northridge's favor, but here's the deal. UC Santa Barbara has a really good player in Jay Mitchell, who is definitely a potential candidate for Conference Player of the Year. Although I really like Cal State Northridge, Deshaun Allen Elkins. I think he's going to have a good game. I think Deontay Bostic needs to be really good in this game in order for them to win. I think it's going to be a close one. But I think UC Santa Barbara's offense is just too lethal for them, and they're going to hit the biggest shots, and they're going to get to the foul line more consistently, and they're going to knock down majority of the free throws. I think that's what's going to win them the game. UC Santa Barbara moves on to the quarterfinals and take on Hawaii. Moving on to the quarterfinal matchups, we have 4 seed Long Beach State taking on 8 seed Cal State Bakersfield. Long Beach State has 5 guys who are scoring in double figures. Like Cal State Bakersfield, they also have a really good guard. They have Marcus Sohonis. I hope I pronounced his last name correctly. There's a T in his first name. It's Tsohonis. I am thinking the T is silent. I hope it is. I hope it's not like to Sohonis or something like that. I'm just going to call him Sohonis, and hopefully that's even remotely close to being the correct pronunciation. But either way, they have him on this roster. He's averaging 17 points per game. He's a top 5 player in the Big West this year. 3.3 rebounds, 3 assists per game, 1.4 steals per game, shooting over 40% from the field, 76% from the free throw line, and shooting 25% from 3. He's not a good three-point shooter, but he attacks the rim. He gets to the free throw line. He converts majority of his free throws, and he's just overall just a really good scorer and a really good player. And they have other guys on this roster. Lucina Traore leads them. Rebounds per game of 10.4. He actually averages a double-double, 12 and 10. They have guys on this roster who can hit three-pointers. Jaden Jones, 38% from 3. AJ George shooting 36% from 3. And Amon Stroud shooting over 45% from 3. They have about 6 to 7 players, 6 to 8 players, I say, that play consistently, play good minutes for them, so they have a good depth on their roster. And overall, they just have a better roster than Cal State Bakersfield. Even though Caleb Higgins might be the best player on the floor, other than him, he's not going to have any help on this team. I think Long Beach State, their defense is not as good, but neither is Cal State Bakersfield. Or excuse me, Long Beach State's defense isn't as good as Cal State Bakersfield. But Long Beach State's offense is just way better than Cal State Bakersfield. And although I like defense, the biggest difference maker for me is Long Beach State attacks the rim, and they're number 1 in offensive rebound percentage. So even if they don't convert majority of the shots, they always get second chance opportunities because they're always crashing the glass, and teams really struggle with keeping them off the glass, period, offensively. So they always get second chance points, and they're going to keep on doing that, and that's going to be a big difference maker for me. Long Beach State takes care of Cal State Bakersfield, and they move on to the semifinals to face 1 seed UC Irvine. Final quarterfinal matchup, we have 3 seed Hawaii taking on 6 seed UC Santa Barbara. UC Santa Barbara, like I mentioned, has a top 3 offense. Hawaii is right there behind them, setting 4th. So it's number 3 offense taking on number 4 offense. The biggest difference maker for me, Hawaii has a top 4 defense. UC Santa Barbara is 10th in defense in this league. That's going to be the huge drawing point for me. Although UC Santa Barbara goes to the free throw line more than any team in this league, they don't necessarily convert them as much. They shoot about 74% from the free throw line, 35% from 3. They're going to have to be able to hit some shots in this game, but Hawaii, they just do a good job of attacking the rim. They're number 1 in 2-point percentage. Not as good as 3-point shooting team as UC Santa Barbara, but they're definitely a better defensive team. And you just look at this roster; they have a well-balanced roster. They have 3 guys who average in double figures in scoring. Noel Coleman being their best scorer with 13, almost 14 a game. Bernardo da Silva being their best rebounder with over 7.1 per game. I think defense prevails in this one. They have a very similar offense in ways. UC Santa Barbara being better offensively, or better 3-point shooting team. Hawaii being a better team at attacking the rim and getting to the paint. UC Santa Barbara goes to the free throw line more, but not by much, even though they go to the free throw line about 40% of the time. Hawaii goes to the free throw line about 39% of the time, so they're still very close on that stat. And just Hawaii's defense is the difference maker for me. Hawaii takes care of UC Santa Barbara, and they move on to the semifinals to face 2 seed UC Davis. Moving on to the semifinal matchups. Up first, we got 1 seed UC Irvine taking 4 seed Long Beach State. UC Irvine, the craziest thing about me, they won over 24 games this year and they don't necessarily have a high prolific score. They have a couple dudes on this roster. They only have 3 guys who are really averaging over double figures. Justin Hone averaging 12 and a half, Andre Henry 10.6, and Darren Saran with 10 points per game. 3 players that's averaging under 13 points per game. And the fact is they win over 24 games is just mind-boggling to me. But they win games just off their defense alone. And they still have a top 2. They got the best offensive team in this tournament. UC San Diego has the best offense, period, in the Big West. But since they're not allowed to play in this tournament, that means UC Irvine has the best offense in this tournament, according to KenPom. Like, they shoot 34% from 3, which is pretty solid. They shoot 52% from the 2-point line, which is pretty solid. They play at a pretty high tempo, 3rd in tempo in this league. It's just defensively, they just lock you in defensively. Like, they just put a stranglehold on teams. Like, teams do not score the ball inside their 3-point line well. 43% of the time they're getting stops inside when teams try to attack the rim and really hit 2-pointers on them. They stop that majority of the time. And they're still, it's not like they give up a crazy amount of threes either. Like, teams only shoot 32% from 3. This team is just so locked in defensively. Like, they're like the mid-major version of Virginia, which is crazy to see because prime Virginia would lock you up defensively. And UC Irvine does kind of similar things as Virginia used to do. But the fact is they don't have a prolific score on this offense, like on this team. Just it blows my mind how they've won so many games. But like I always say, defense travels. Even if you're not a prolific, a lethal scoring team, if you could score enough points and your defense is really freaking talented and really good, and you focus more on that, your defense is going to travel and your defense can win you ball games. And hell, they've won 24 games pretty much off their defense. And the offense is still pretty damn good, which is mind-boggling to me. But they play Long Beach State. Long Beach State has a top 5 offense. They're ranked 9th defensively. That's the biggest difference maker for me. Even though Long Beach State gets a lot of offensive rebounds, I think they're going to have trouble doing that in this game just because how well UC Irvine just controls the game defensively. Like, they're just going to lock you in. They're going to control the paint. They're going to make you hit shots against them. And that's something Long Beach State does not do well. One of the worst 3-point shooting teams in this league, 30% from 3. If you want to beat UC Irvine, you're going to have to open them up because they lock you up in the paint and you would get nothing down there. You're going to have to hit shots, and that's something Long Beach State is not capable of doing. UC Irvine routs them, jumps out to an early lead, puts a stranglehold on them, and never looks back. They win this game by over 8 points, and they move on to the championship game on March 16th. And they will face the winner of 2-seed UC Davis taking on 3-seed Hawaii. Hawaii is a very well-balanced team. They're 4th in offense. They're 4th in defense. They're 1st in controlling controlling the defensive glass. Teams do not get second chance points on them or second chance opportunities against them. They're 1st in offensive rebounding percentage defensively. So teams are not getting second chance points out of that. They hold teams to shoot under 31.5% from 3, which is really good. They shoot 33% from themselves, which is below average, but I still think it's enough to win them games. 1st in 2-point percentage, which is really their forte, which is their mono. They like to attack the rim, play downhill, draw some fouls, hit majority of their free throws. They don't play a high-tempo game. They like to slow it down and really make teams come out there and guard them, which has been very effective over this season and can be very effective in this type of a tournament format. But UC Davis, though, they have the best player in this league, and Elijah Pepper, who's going to win Conference Player of the Year, or he should. And then they have maybe the second best player in the league, definitely top 5, and Ty Johnson. I mean, both of these guys have been exceptional for UC Davis this year. Elijah Pepper's a 20-point scorer. He's shooting over 37% from 3, 4.5 rebounds per game. And also, guess what? He's getting out there to defend. He's almost averaging 2 steals per game. This kid's been electrifying. And if you foul him, he's converting 92% of his free throws. He's a hard guard. I think Hawaii's going to have trouble containing him. And even if they do, they're going to have to contain Ty Johnson as well, because he's averaging over 17 a game. He's averaging over 3.6 rebounds per game. He's really good at dropping dimes, over 3 assists per game. And he's not as good a prolific 3-point shooter as Pepper is, but shooting 33% from 3. But that's not his forte. He's going to attack you downhill. He's going to force you into come out there and guard him. And he's really going to give teams problems. The only main concern I have about Ty Johnson is the fact that he is turnover prone. 3 turnovers per game. That's not a recipe for winning in March. You're going to have to take care of the ball. And if Hawaii can really get in his face and really suffocate him defensively, force him in some bad turnovers, then they'll have a better chance of winning this game, because Elijah Pepper is going to go off. He's going to have 20 plus in this game. He might have over 15 points heading into the second half. He's just that prolific of a scorer. So he will probably go off. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you can control everybody else and really force Ty Johnson, because that's really the 2 best players. They're the only 2 players on this roster that average in double scoring. Are averaging double figures in scoring. Everybody else, although offensively they can contribute, they contribute in other different ways. If you can control Ty Johnson, you'll have a better chance of winning. But here's the thing. UC Davis is really freaking good, man. They're second defensively. They're 6th offensively. The offense is not their main objective this season. It's been their defense, and they have 2 of the best players in the league. Although Hawaii's probably overall has a better roster and probably overall a better team, maybe just slightly, I can't help to believe that. How do I want to word this? It's going to be Hawaii's going to have to play almost a near perfect game offensively and defensively if they want to win this one. And that's something I'm just not sure they're capable of doing. They're going to have to hit shots. They haven't really done that too much this season in conference play, shooting 33% from 3, like I mentioned earlier. It'll be a close game, but I think late down the stretch, UC Davis is going to make the majority of the plays, then they're going to really lock in defensively. And if Hawaii is not hitting shots and not finishing at the rim, I think it's going to spell bad news for Hawaii. UC Davis beats Hawaii, and it's a 1 seed taking on the 2 seed, the top 2 teams in this tournament. UC Irvine taking on UC Davis, and this has been the toughest matchup I've had to predict in all of the conference tournaments I've done so far this season. And there's been a good majority of them, for one on the podcast and the couple I've done on YouTube. UC Irvine is number 1, is the best offensive team in this tournament and the best defensive team in the tournament. Then number 2 overall offensively behind UC San Diego, but they're number 1 defensively in this league. They lock you in inside the 3-point line, and they still lock you down beyond the 3-point line. Teams only shooting 32% from 3 against them. Man, this is tough. UC Davis don't shoot the ball particularly well from 3, 33%. But man, they're such a tough team, and they got their 2 best players on the floor. Oh, man, this is honestly a toss-up for me. UC Irvine, they're number 1 in defensive efficiency. They're number 1 in effective field goal percentage defensively. They're number 1 in 2-point percentage defensively. They don't allow teams to really get to the free throw line that's consistent. Teams don't shoot the ball well against them. They've had a well-connected team roster this year. They've been so damn talented, so damn good. And I think a couple of these players, whether it's Justin Hone, is going to step up big and have 20 plus in this game. I think it's going to be low scoring. If UC Davies wants to win this game. They're going to have to score the basketball, period. At the end of the day, as good as they are defensively, they're going to have to find a way to put the ball in the hoop. And although I do think they are capable of it, because they're a well-coached team and they've got two of the best players in the league, they're not going to be able to do it like in a consistent level like UC Irvine's going to be able to do. They got a good system, and it works for them all season long. And the biggest difference maker for me is UC Irvine, even though they're ranked 7th in free throw rate, when they do go to the free throw line, they're converting them 79% of the time, which is first in the Big West. That is where the game's going to be won. It's going to be won on free throws, and it's going to be won on who can make the plays offensively. And I think that's going to be UC Irvine. Like I predicted in the Jerome, I almost switched my pick to UC Davis, but I think I actually talked myself into sticking with my Jerome pick. UC Irvine holds chalk, beats UC Davies in a close, hard-fought battle. I don't know what the score is going to be because this could be high scoring, and this is also going to be a low scoring. But no matter what, I think it's going to be a close game, and it's going to be a grind to win this one, man. It's going to be difficult. The first 4 minutes and the last 4 minutes of the game is going to be a critical part of who wins this game for me. And I think it's going to be UC Irvine. UC Irvine punches their ticket into the big dance. They win the Big West tournament. They won the regular season by 2 games. And they're going to be the first team that I've predicted so far as a 1 seed in these mid-major tournaments that I've previewed to actually hold chalk and actually win their league title. The Big West will be represented by none other than UC Irvine. That's the end of that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give this YouTube video a like, share, and subscribe for me. Check out the other YouTube videos I've done. Check out our top 10 lists, top 10 favorite March Madness list that myself, Trevor, and Josh did. Check out Josh's SEC Conference Awards. Check out my Big 12 Conference Awards and the Pac-12 Conference Awards. Check out all the other previews I've done for the MAC and Southland and all these other conferences that I'm going to continue to do. March is coming, man. It's 6 days away. I cannot wait, man. It's showtime. We're getting so close to Selection Sunday. Watch these mid-major tournaments because if you want to fill your bracket out, obviously you're going to have to pay attention to some of these mid-majors because there's going to be upsets in the tournament. And who knows? Maybe it could be UC Irvine upsetting their favorite team as a 15 seed. Who knows? We'll see. UC Irvine wins the Big West in a very close game. Until next time, that's all I got. My name is Peyton, and I'll catch y'all down the road. Peace.